To best prepare for you to do well in this class, I organized the math knowledge that you need into this section, so I'd like to introduce to you. So we're going to talk about some algebra, trigonometry, and graphing, especially algebra. This is a really important part. When people study physics, a lot of times students will expect to use formulas. Maybe that's what you are really good at. When people are really good at something, they expect to use it more. But as a matter of fact, we need to transition from using formulas to using equations. That's algebra. So here are two examples. If you have the height of tomato plants, 1, 2, 3, what's the average height? So this is something you can get the numbers and punch right into your calculator. That's what we call arithmetic. On the other hand, on the other side, so if you actually know the height of 2 tomato plants, you want to find out the third. In the meanwhile, you know the average. How do you find out the third? This is the one you cannot just get a calculator and just punch it into your calculator to get the number, but you need to set up an equation and solve the equation to get. So this is equation algebra. In this course, we require you to do algebra. So we should expect you to translate the word problems into equations and solve the equation. Just to give you a heads up, that's what we're going to do a lot. So let's see. There is another change. In math, you usually use X, Y, Z for the names of the variables. But in physics, we use a lot more symbols, different letters, different English letters, different combinations, etc. For example, we use V for velocity, X for position, and A for acceleration. So that's way beyond X, Y, Z. Now, let me give you a lot more. So as a matter of fact, these are basically all types of variable symbols we use. So I'll give you a heads up. I hope you feel more comfortable when we actually start to use these symbols. So there are symbols made with only one letter. For example, mass, time, and tension, force. And look, the physics variable names are case sensitive. One letter with a subscript or multiple subscripts. So we use mass of object 1, mass of object 2, so that allows us to create different symbols for different objects. Initial velocity, final velocity, there are two different ways. Initial velocity of object 1, initial velocity of object 2. So here, there are two subscript symbols to distinguish what velocity you're talking about. So basically, we need to give different names to different properties. And some variable names are made with 2 letters. For example, like weight is mass times gravitational acceleration. We call it mg. Weight of object y is m1g. Besides the English letters, we also use Greek letters to represent different properties, and we use quite a few of them. For example, density is rho, angular velocity is omega. So these are Greek alphabets. Okay, why do I put a song here? So that's a extra credit activity. So over the time, people always ask me how to earn extra credit. And I think it's really important and it's really useful that you actually know these Greek letters since we use a lot of them. So here, go research for a Greek alphabet song. And towards the end of the semester, I'll give you a chance and you're going to sing to the whole class. If we run online, yes, you sing online, that's how you can earn extra credit. In summary, I just went over a summary of algebra. For trigonometry and graphing, I'm going to give that to you in an online quiz. These are all the materials that we use when we solve problems, and I expect you to learn this and make sure, in case you get a little rusty, make sure you review and get familiarized with this by the end of the first week.